Hello, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to another edition of Jays Latest. I am your host, Craig Borden. Make sure you hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons because we are having such a fun time here on Jays Latest. So let's just dive into some of the fun because I wanted to talk some Blue Jays prospects really quick because we had some new lists that came out from MLB.com, and we'd be hard pressed to not talk about it. So Blue Jays top prospects have been, well known for a while. Arjun Amala topping that list at the moment, and let's just talk about him for a few minutes because, like I said, he's been destroying the damn baseball. I know it looks funny when he's only batting 278, but he's got four doubles, two home runs, and he's got 15 hits already this season. That is the more encouraging thing as he is leading the Vancouver Seas in hits at the moment, and he's been playing really well. So that was one of the things I wanted to make sure we got to. If you haven't checked in on the young talented ball player, make sure you do because, like I said, he has been very impressive to watch. And yesterday, we had a stellar performance from Jake Bloss. I know Blue Jays fans are going to be talking nothing but pitching for the time being here with what's been going on the last few starts for Easton Lucas. We will get to that in one moment. But we do have Jake Bloss, who is starting to turn it up, even though his stat line right now would not look like you would think that. But he did hold the Syracuse Chiefs into very good submission yesterday, and it was one of those things that just looked very good, period, let alone for how his stat line, like I mentioned, looks so far this year on the paper. I do want to also make sure I give credit where credit's due. Jonathan Clase, Blue Jay outfielder that we got from Seattle last year, um, in the Jimmy not so much trade anymore now. We have Jimmy Garcia back on the team. He's batting 365 with 10 walks, 19 hits, which includes three doubles and eight stolen bases. So, with all the fun we have going on our Blue Jay outfield right now, very interesting to see. And Jonathan Clase is knocking on the door at this point, but we'll see what happens as the Blue Jays obviously continue to move things first. There was also a very interesting list that came out from MLB.com that was top performers and newcomers for teams so far this season. And Keegan Matheson of the Blue Jays actually called out Miles Straw. And I cannot say enough good things of what Miles Straw has done for this team at this point. He's played stellar defense. It's been a heck of a throw into this lineup. It's been doing great and just very interesting. Uh, he's no longer just the international signing room guy for many Blue Jays fans as far as nicknames go, but Miles Straw is starting to look like a good ball player and a good piece of this team. So why don't we dive into the game from yesterday because the Blue Jays lost their second series of the season officially yesterday. And for some reason, the Seattle Mariners just have our number and do whatever they do to scare the Blue Jays. Ooh. Mostly it's Cal Riley, but this game was led off with back-to-back home runs, basically. Um, yeah, it just sucked. Watching this game to start yesterday, Dylan Moore just dropped one right over the center field wall and left kind of like center field. And it was a rope. He destroyed it. And then two pitches later, or one batter later, after he walked Julio Rodriguez, we get Cal Riley in the free spot. And like I mentioned, Cal Riley is a bane for all Blue Jays fans because he just, some for reason, destroys the Toronto Blue Jays and he hits a two-run blast to put the Blue Jays up, or not the Blue Jays, Seattle Mariners up 3-0 at the time. So this inning, first inning gets closed out and we're already that far in the hole. The Toronto Blue Jays continued to have problems and dig the hole even further. Randy Rosarina drove in a run, Mitch Garver drove in a run, and it was very quickly 6-0 at the bottom of the sixth or bottom of the second. I mean, Blue Jays did score a couple to come back, so they were making this interesting for a long part of the game. Tyler Heineman continues to rake at the plate. Drove in Will Wagner with a single, and then Bo Bichette sharply did that right afterwards, driving in Nathan Lucas. So the Blue Jays were still having a pulse. And honestly, they had the bases loaded at that point too, so they actually had a chance to do even more damage. But once again, just couldn't get the guys around the pillows, and this is just obnoxious yesterday. This is, shows you the opportunities that we had. They were 5 for 21 with runners in scoring position. just horrible. Opportunities were there because the Blue Jays ended up collecting 11 hits and just couldn't get them around the bases. And Nathan Lucas ended up having another RBI sac fly in the third, and that would be the end of the Blue Jays scoring. But like I said, the chances were there. But Easton Lucas only lasted an inning and 2/3 with those 6 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 homers. Somehow manages to pull 5 Ks out of it. I don't get that one, but 'tis what it is. And let's get to the Blue Jays story of this game, because there was one bright spot in this loss, and that was Paxton Schultz. It was his major league debut. He had drove from Syracuse the night before to Buffalo to pick up his stuff, drove over the border to meet the Blue Jays, along with Dylan Tate also was part of that equation as well. Tate didn't fare as well as Schultz did, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, Paxton Schultz actually tied a MLB record in his debut for a reliever. Apparently, the major league record for relievers coming into a game in their major league debut was 8 strikeouts. Paxton Schultz had 8 strikeouts yesterday exactly, and 4 in the third innings, only allowed 2 base runners and 2 hits, and just good. He was right in the top of the zone, up, down, really confusing some of those hitters, and it looked great. I always liked Paxton Schultz and was wondering what an opportunity would look like if he ever got a chance to come up from Buffalo. And I could not say enough good things of what his MLB debut looked like. And I hope that he's a good piece of this bullpen going forward, because I do think he has the talent. Dylan Tate, like I said, mentioned, come in afterwards, and he gave up another home run to Rowdy Tellez, because Rowdy Tellez apparently likes playing in the Sky Dome. Who would have thunk that? 3 home runs for Rowdy Tellez over the weekend, including the grand slam to end the game on Saturday. I love Rowdy. That's where he was one of the ones that actually helped me with the nickname for our show for the Jaybird Watching podcast. Oddly enough, I was having a beer with him at a Buffalo Bisons event, and he goes, "Oh, so you're like the barroom chat for Blue Jays fans?" And I'm like, boom. You got that right, buddy. Perfect. It's been the tagline ever since. So, very rough outing, but we did get Mason Fluharty in also, who is looking very good in the bullpen. I want to just make sure he gets the credit that he deserves, because he has been a fun piece to this Blue Jay bullpen. So let's talk about getting that one behind us. The Blue Jays will be heading to Houston to be able to take on the Astros. Hunter Brown will be on the mound tonight for the Houston Astros, and is off to a stellar start to the beginning of his season with a 1.5 ERA and 2 wins, 22 strikeouts. The Blue Jays do not appear to have a ton of success against him outside of Andres Gimenez and George Springer. Both have a home run in very limited bats against him. Most of the Blue Jays on this are not showing that they've even had too many at bats, let alone hits against them. So meanwhile, on the mound, the Blue Jays will be putting Kevin Gausman, hopefully playing stopper, get this winning thing back on the road, because the Blue Jays are still currently 12-10 and playing in the second place spot in the American League East. You all know the fun that Kevin Gausman's had against the Houston Astros over the years. It's been very up and down, mostly up though. So only one batter that's currently in this lineup has enough at bats to call it relevant against Kevin Gausman, and that's Jose Altuve. He's been .333 in 12 career at bats against Kevin Gausman. So it is what it is. It's unfortunately got a home run. So, not as much as I hate that little guy, but that's besides the point, because I think he's a cheater. The Blue Jays will be taking on the Houston Astros this evening at 8:10 Eastern time because of the time shift to Houston. Make sure you tune in on wonderful things on Sportsnet and be able to listen in and goof around. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter with my goofballs at Birdwatching GC. Make sure you tune in daily here at Jay's Latest TV on YouTube. Make sure you goof around with us too. Hit us up in the comments, and we will make sure we answer whatever we humanly can. Until then, you all have a great day. Hit those like, share, and subscribes, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Cheers. Go Blue Jays.